Very good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News on Rajya Sabha TV. I am Aishwarya with you. Here are the midday headlines. Nation marks the first anniversary of Balakot airstrikes. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh terms Balakot a successful counter-terror operation. Indian Air Force Chief RKS Bhadoria says attacks from across the border not acceptable anymore. Universities should not remain the proverbial ivory towers, says Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. At the convocation of Pondicherry University calls for reorienting education system to match needs of the 21st century. US President Donald Trump wraps up India visit. White House says both countries deepening security relationship, helping to promote free and open Indo-Pacific region. Prime Minister Modi says Indo-US friendship benefits people of our nations and the world. India awaits a green signal from China to evacuate remaining Indians from coronavirus hit Wuhan. Indians on cruise ship off Japan to also be evacuated. Iran reports 100 coronavirus cases, 15 deaths. Outbreak spreads in Europe from Italy. And 24 people killed in Rajasthan after bus carrying a wedding party plunges into a river in Bundi district. Rescue operations underway. The nation is marking the first anniversary of the Balakot airstrikes today. In the wee hours of 26th of February last year, the Indian Air Force carried out airstrikes on terror camps in Balakot inside Pakistan. These airstrikes were carried out in the aftermath of the 14th of February Pulwama terror attack, where 40 CRPF jawans were martyred when an IED-laden SUV rammed into an convoy there. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh took to Twitter and called the Balakot airstrikes a successful counter-terror operation launched by the fearless warriors of the Indian Air Force. Rajnath Singh said that India's approach in dealing with terrorism has undergone a major change as its armed forces now do not hesitate to cross the border to protect the country against the menace. And Indian Air Force Chief RKS Bhadoria is in Srinagar today, where he flew the MiG-21 to mark the first anniversary of Balakot airstrikes.
The message was clear. At the government level, it was a clear message that any attacks orchestrated from across the border will not be acceptable at all. On the intelligence side, the choice of target, the kind of targets located for the terrorist training camps was selected. Once the target was given to the Air Force, at our end, the way the mission was conducted and the way we handled the riposte that was conducted by the adversary. So the message is very clear that it will no longer be status quo. If there is an attack orchestrated from across, there will be a response and it will be a robust response.
And now let's get you all the news on the two-day India visit of US President Donald Trump. After concluding his two-day India visit, US President Donald Trump flew for United States on Tuesday night. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked him for the visit. Taking to Twitter, Prime Minister Modi called the visit path-breaking, where both countries covered great ground in strengthening bilateral relations. The Prime Minister added that the India-USA friendship will benefit the people of both the nations and the world. And in another tweet, Prime Minister Modi thanked Ivanka Trump and her husband and extended wishes in their endeavors to further women empowerment and enterprise. And hours after President Donald Trump concluded his whirlwind 36-hour tour of India, the White House on Tuesday said that the visit aimed at deepening the strategic partnership between the two nations. In a statement, the White House further said that the US and India benefit from strong economic ties that advance prosperity, investment, and job creation in both countries. The White House added that the US President and Prime Minister Modi are working towards a trade pact that reflects the full potential of the economic partnership between both the nations. It also stated that both countries are working closely to combat terrorism, confront global drug trafficking, and also promote a free and open Indo-Pacific region. And before his departure, US President Donald Trump attended a grand state banquet hosted in his honor by President Ramnath Kovind at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Accompanied by First Lady Melania Trump, Donald Trump was received by President Kovind at the forecourt of the majestic Rashtrapati Bhavan, after which the two presidents met for ceremonial talks. And on the second day of US President Donald Trump's maiden visit to India, he held a summit-level meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday. Both leaders said that the relationship between the two countries is going to be the tie-up of the century. The two leaders talked on all issues of mutual interest and also global concern and chalked out a trajectory to tap the capabilities of both the countries. They asserted that India and the US are going to forge a comprehensive partnership. US President Donald Trump said that he was working with Pakistan against terrorism.
आज राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और मैंने हमारे संबंधों को कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के स्तर पर ले जाने का निर्णय लिया है। संबंधों को इस मुकाम तक लाने में राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप का अमूल्य योगदान रहा है। फ्रेंड्स, आज हमारी चर्चा में हमने इस पार्टनरशिप के हर अहम पहलू पर सकारात्मक विचार किया, चाहे वो डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी हो, एनर्जी स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप हो, टेक्नोलॉजी कोऑपरेशन हो, ग्लोबल कनेक्टिविटी हो, ट्रेड रिलेशंस हो या फिर पीपल टू पीपल टाइज।
The two sides also signed 3 MOUs in the field of oil and gas, cooperation in mental health, and safety of medical products.
We expanded our defense cooperation with agreements for India to purchase more than $3 billion of advanced American military equipment, including Apache and MH-60 Romeo helicopters, the finest in the world. These deals will enhance our joint defense capabilities as our militaries continue to train and operate side by side. In our discussions, Prime Minister Modi and I affirmed our two countries' commitment to protecting our citizens from radical Islamic terrorism. In this effort, the United States is also working productively with Pakistan to confront terrorists who operate on its soil.
India and the US also expanded their defense cooperation with agreements for India to purchase more than $3 billion of advanced American military equipment, including Apache and MH-60 Romeo helicopters. And US President Donald Trump lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi for working very hard on religious freedom. Let's take a listen.
So we did talk about religious freedom, and I will say that the Prime Minister was incredible on what he told me. He wants people to have religious freedom, and very strongly, and he said that in India they have worked very hard to have great and open religious freedom.
And Rajya Sabha TV's Foreign Affairs editor Khilir Suman also asked the United States President about terrorism emanating from Pakistan in India. Let's listen in to what US President Donald Trump responded.
Mr. President, I am Akhilesh Suman. I am from Rajya Sabha television. It's a parliamentary channel of India, upper house, like you've seen it.
Good.
India's concern is with neighborhood. And you and Prime Minister Modi tell that you are very good friends. What is your strategy about terrorism that is coming out from Pakistan to India? Because we have been suffering from this type of terrorism for last 20 years or so. What is your strategy? What are you going to do?
We talked a lot about Pakistan. I have a very good relationship with Prime Minister Khan, very good. We talked about it today at length, actually, and Prime Minister Modi. And it's no question it's a problem, but it's a problem they're working on it. India is, it's a brave nation too. There's no pullback from India. And we just hope, and I said I'll help, I'll do whatever I have to do if I can do that, because my relationship with both gentlemen is so good. But there has been difficulty in Pakistan, and we're seeing what we can do about it. Anything I can do to mediate, anything I can do to help, I would do. They're working on Kashmir. Kashmir has been a thorn in a lot of people's sides for a long time. And there are two sides to every story, but they've been working on that very hard. We discussed it at great length, terrorism. And I think we have some very good ideas. He's very, very strongly against terrorism. I'll tell you, Prime Minister Modi is a very religious man, as you know. He's a very calm man, but he's actually a very, very strong person, very tough, actually. I've seen him in action. And he's got that foremost in his mind, terrorism. He'll take care of it.
All right, let's get to some other news. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu attended the 28th annual convocation of Pondicherry University today. And in the address, Vice President Naidu asserted that universities cannot and should not remain the proverbial ivory towers and must be intimately connected with the social life of people, observing that any university that aims at academic and research excellence must keep itself at the forefront of knowledge revolution. Naidu also inspected the Guard of Honor upon his arrival in Puducherry. He was received by Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Dr. Kiran Bedi, and the Chief Minister, V. Narayanasamy. On to some other news. Biennial elections to fill 55 seats in the Rajya Sabha will be held on 26th of March. The Election Commission made the announcement on Tuesday. 55 members of the Rajya Sabha from 17 states are retiring in April 2020. The notification will be issued on 6th of March and 13th March will be the last date for making nominations. The scrutiny of nominations will take place on the 16th of March and 18th of March will be the last date for the withdrawal of candidature. So elections to fill the 55 Rajya Sabha seats that are falling vacant in April will be held on 26th of March this year. Announcing the dates of the Rajya Sabha election, the Election Commission of India on Tuesday announced the biennial elections to be held in 17 states following the retirement of the members. Here is a detailed report.
The Election Commission of India announced biennial elections to 55 Rajya Sabha seats on 26 March 2020. The seats from 17 different states will fall vacant between April 2nd and 12th. The Election Commission said 51 of these 55 seats are falling vacant in April 2020 due to retirement of sitting members. 4 other seats are already vacant due to resignation of members. The terms of these members who resigned are also ending in April. According to the Election Commission, the notification on the biennial elections will be held on March 6th. March 13th will be the last date of filing nominations. Nominations will be scrutinized on March 16th, while the last date for withdrawal of candidatures is March 18th. Polling will take place between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on March 26th, while counting will take place an hour after the polls end. Prominent among those who are retiring are Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh, Union Minister Ramdas Athavale, Congress veteran Motilal Vora, BJP leader Vijay Goyal, Kumari Selja of Congress, NCP leader Sharad Pawar, Tiruchi Siva of DMK, CPIM leader Rita Prata Banerjee, Sasikala Pushpa of AIA-DMK and former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Digvijay Singh among others. Of the 17 states, Maharashtra has the highest number of retiring MPs with 7, while Himachal has least with 1. Apart from this, 6 vacancies are from Tamil Nadu, followed by 5 from West Bengal and Bihar, 4 each from Odisha, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh, 3 each from Assam, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, 2 each from Telangana, Chhattisgarh, Haryana and Jharkhand, 1 each from Manipur and Meghalaya. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
In Midday News, time for a very short break. I will be right back with more news. Don't go anywhere.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. News from the national capital, where the death toll in the northeast Delhi violence has risen to 20. Section 144 was imposed in several areas, including Mojpur, Jafrabad, Chandbagh and Karawal Nagar areas on Tuesday. Delhi police has registered 11 FIRs in connection with the violence. Over 20 people have been detained and 1 person has been arrested. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval reviewed security arrangements, deployment of police personnel in the area late on Tuesday night after Home Minister Amit Shah held a third meeting in less than 24 hours with the Delhi police and the officials of his ministry. Amit Shah also convened an all-party meeting earlier in the day, which was attended by top leaders of the BJP, Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress. And as a safety measure, all schools in the northeast zone are closed today. CBSE has postponed the board examinations for class 10 and 12 scheduled for today in the violence-affected areas of Delhi. Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan also visited the Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital to review the condition of the people who were injured in the violence.
इनका कहना है कि 30-40% ट्रीटमेंट लेके वापस जा चुके हैं। बाकी जो एडमिट है यहाँ पर, उसमें मैंने कई वार्ड्स में पेशेंट्स को जाके देखा है। बहुत सारे क्रिटिकल होते हुए भी स्टेबल हैं। इसलिए भगवान से यही हम लोग प्रार्थना करते हैं कि भाई ये जितने भी लोग यहाँ मरीज़ एडमिटेड हैं इस समय, तो ये जल्दी से जल्दी ठीक हो और ठीक होकर घर पर अपने वापस लौटें।
International news now. The death toll from the coronavirus is more than 2,715 worldwide, with the vast majority in mainland China. Now, there are more than 80,000 global cases. WHO officials say that it is too early to declare the novel coronavirus a pandemic, but now is the time to prepare. Meanwhile, in Iran, close to 100 people have officially been infected. More than 1,140 people have been infected in South Korea as well, where 10 people have also died. The country has the most infections outside China. And several European countries have also announced their first coronavirus cases, with all appearing to be linked with a growing outbreak in Italy. Austria, Croatia, Switzerland said that the cases involved people who had been to Italy, as did Algeria in Africa. The first positive virus test has been recorded in Latin America as well. Italy has in the recent days become Europe's worst affected country with more than 320 cases and 11 deaths. Meanwhile, India is prepared to evacuate a large number of its citizens who are struck in China's coronavirus hit city of Wuhan by a special Indian Air Force plane. However, the government is waiting for a formal approval from the Chinese side, after which evacuation process will start. About 90 to 100 Indians are expected to board the special flight. India has also expressed its willingness to evacuate citizens from the neighborhood countries. Remember, India had announced plans to send Indian Air Force's largest plane, C-17 Globemaster, with medical supplies to China several days ago, but it had not got permission from the Chinese authorities. And also, last-minute details are being put in place to fly home all 122 Indians on board the luxury ship Diamond Princess, quarantined over coronavirus. They will be flown to Delhi and put into quarantine for 2 weeks. There were 138 Indians on board the ship, that is quarantined at Yokohama in Japan since 3rd of February. In the latest round of tests for the coronavirus, 2 more Indians tested positive, bringing up the tally of Indians affected on board the ship to 16. All the 16 are in hospital and their condition is reported to be stable and improving. Diamond Princess became the site of the biggest coronavirus outbreak after Wuhan in China, with over 700 people on board affected. ISRO will launch its imaging satellite GSAT-1 on board the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle GSLV F-10 next month. The launch is tentatively scheduled at 5:43 p.m. on 5th of March from Sriharikota's Satish Dhawan Space Center. Weighing about 2,275 kilogram, GSAT-1 is a state-of-the-art agile Earth observation satellite which would be placed in a geosynchronous transfer orbit by GSLV F-10. GISAT-1 will facilitate near real-time observation of the Indian subcontinent under cloud-free conditions at frequent intervals. The nation is remembering freedom fighter, social reformer, writer and philosopher Veer Savarkar on his death anniversary today. In a tweet, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that Veer Savarkar instilled the spirit of nationalism, courage and inspired people to fight for freedom in our country. He added that Savarkar's life and contributions will remain as a great source of inspiration in the mission to achieve an inclusive society. On to news from Rajasthan now, where at least 24 people died and 4 others sustained injuries as a private bus carrying a wedding party fell into a river on Kota-Dausa highway in Bundi district on Wednesday morning. The wedding party with 28 people on board was headed to Savai Madhopur from Kota early morning when the driver apparently lost balance of the bus while traversing a bridge near Pabdi village near Lekhari police station limits. The bus subsequently plunged into the river from the bridge. The deaths include 11 men, 10 women and 3 children. And now let's talk about environment and climate change. Climate change threatens global security with the loss of livelihoods, increased illnesses, and battles over scarce water and food. Pressures from global warming is likely to intensify political tensions, unrest, and conflict. A report by the Center of Climate and Security says that climate change is likely to fuel violent extremism and break down government security systems. Border security and infrastructure will break down as resources grow scarce, fueling extremism, crime, and human trafficking. War-torn countries in Africa and the Middle East are considered most at risk, while industrialized regions are also vulnerable. While the Paris Climate Agreement aims to keep the Earth's temperature rise below 2 degrees Celsius, there is a lot of things that need to be done at individual level as well as government levels. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.